This thing. Front Stoop, what's poppin'? It's your boy. I'm here with my man Savvy, Tony Crow, and tonight we're gonna talk a little bit about Fargo. Season 4. We're gonna catch us all the way up, man. We're gonna go from episodes 1 through 4. You know, it's not gonna be 4 hours long. Don't worry about that. But we're gonna go episodes 1 through 4. We're gonna break it down and just talk about it a little bit and what we think about the series so far. Savvy, Tony, what's popping with y'all, man?
Kicking it, fam.
Let's go with you.
I'm good. Just, I had to, I watched the episodes, but I went back and watched them again today just so I can be caught up. You know what I mean? So we can have this conversation. Not caught up, so I can be,
fresh in your mind.
Fresh, so it can be fresh in my mind. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Man, I've been looking for that deeper, darker criminal link. Feel me? trying to find these connections because I don't know if you've seen much of the other seasons, but they do make connections between certain elements that gives you the signal that it's a part of a shared universe, right?
Right.
And so I've been just watching back and trying to find where this might be able to tie in historically with some of the stuff that happens in the other season.
Yeah. Now the other seasons are normally located in Fargo, right?
I think only the first one, isn't it?
The first one is, and then they move around a little bit after that. So parts takes place in like North Dakota,
right?
And then there's like one other town that they go to a lot, but it's not entirely in Minnesota,
Right.
And,
right.
But a good chunk of it is there, and it's really central to the story.
Yeah, and I watched the first season. I watched the first season. I didn't watch the 2 seasons afterwards. So I need to go back and check those out.
It's dope, man. It's dope. It's good. Like after I saw the first season, I didn't immediately jump into season 2. I had like several months before I went back and watched it. And so like going back afterwards and watching it makes it more enjoyable, I feel like, because you're not really feeling the effect from watching it so fresh on the previous season. And just the way that they tell the story and the actors that they use is really dope. And it's always like the same dark, funny type of ironic stuff that you're seeing in this one. Violence, of course, and all the crime, but there's also some historic elements in there that really gives you a signal to like how it was back then,
Yeah, so
and that's what.
Right. So it seems like this season connects to season 2.
It does seem that way. It does seem that way.
Season 2 was about a Kansas City crime syndicate.
Kansas City.
Yeah. So this is like kind of the backstory of that, seemingly.
That's what I suspect too, because not only that, but season 2 was also about family crime, about crime families, and the conflicts between them, right? So seeing that similar element, but then also having like for example, Bokeem Woodbine's character was Mike Milligan, right? It was a black guy named Mike Milligan in this Kansas City mob. And now what do we see here? We see a character, an Irish man, right?
With
named Milligan. You feel me?
Right, named Milligan.
Living among the Italians and being the steward of this black son that came over in the exchange, right? And you can't help but wonder, like, I wonder how this is going to tie into the third season.
Right.
Not necessarily say that Satchel becomes Mike Milligan, right? But but the fact that you have the same name, the same city, you have crime families, you have Kansas City mob activity, and then you see this racial interplay between the immigrant groups and the black groups that arrive in that town from the Jim Crow South.
Right.
You feel me? So it kind of contextualizes that previous season, because
Right.
you're wondering like, yo, what's this guy doing running with these
Savvy,
people?
I got a quick question because you seen all 3 seasons prior to this, right?
I did, yeah.
Being that I have not, and I just starting with season 4,
Right.
would you recommend me starting at season 2 or starting from the beginning?
I would recommend starting from the beginning. Season 1 is dope, and there's another connection to season 1 actually that I see that might not even be a connection via the story, but one of the actors in season 1, Billy Bob Thornton, is playing a character in this season, right?
Yeah, Billy Bob Thornton. That's my dude. I like him, man.
Billy Bob Thornton is good.
Yeah, I like him.
I like his both of the characters that he's played in this show so far. But the good thing is, Tony, that no matter what season you go with first, it's all going to be able to tie into each other because you could watch it good and without spoilers and enjoy it. And they all cover different stories, so
right.
It doesn't really matter where you start at.
It's the type of thing. It's the type of thing. I watched this series. I don't want to go too far off track, but I watched the series one time. I forgot the name of it, but it was about an investigation, right? And the series I think maybe it was 10 episodes long. You had to watch the last episode last, but any other episode they said you could watch it in any order. And you would still be able to get the story.
Wow.
With these series, with Fargo, you could watch any series, right? It's going to tell its own story, but you may see things that would say, oh yeah, I remember such and such happened in season 2 or season 3. Like, for example, right? Let's just say, so right now you're watching season 4 and you're learning about the Milligans, right? You learned about the Milligans, Irish mob family, and you're seeing in season 4 how they exchange children to try to show that they can trust one another, right? So now let's say after this you didn't hear anything about season 2. Now in this conversation, just say for example you went back and watched season 2 and then you learned about Mike Milligan. You would say, oh, I know why Mike Milligan is a black, or at least I have an idea why Mike Milligan, is black. You know what I mean? So you would still be able to connect it. So you could probably watch it in any order, and then make the connection, and then when season 5 comes out, take it from there. But let's go ahead. Let's start with episode 1 and do a quick summary of episode 1 and build ourselves up, right? So in episode 1 is when they really start to break down how in Kansas City, the mob syndicates, the mafias, try to trust one another, find ways to trust one another, which was crazy to me, right? Especially since this is supposed to be a true story, that they would trade their youngest child. Was it the youngest or oldest?
Youngest.
The youngest.
The youngest child,
son.
right? So they would trade their youngest sons and give them to the other family. Okay. I wasn't really clear as to how it was determined that they would get their children back. Right. I'm not clear as to how that is to be, but they make the trade, so they go all the way back. They start with the Irish family, and they double crossed whoever, and then I think the Italian family double crossed the Irish family, right? And the guy that's there now with the Irish with the Irish guy that's with the Italian family now, he killed his own father. right? He you know, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna go deeper into that backstory because he, you know, as we jump into episode 4, you see he's playing a bigger role in the movie now, in the show. Right. And so
you have to think it was because he got traded twice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he got traded twice, right? So he had some ill will towards his father. Yeah, and so now you know, after that goes down with the Irish and the Italians, and now enter the black crime syndicate, right? And off the bat, they're different, right? Because everybody else would spit in their hand and shake hands. Chris Rock is like, well, not Chris Rock, but Lloyd Cannon. He's like, nah, we're gonna do this one different. You know what I'm saying? He cuts his hand. Says, since, you know, we're doing this, we might as well share some blood. You know what I mean? I guess they wasn't worried about HIV back then. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I guess they wasn't worried about HIV back then. And, you know, you already notice, you see right off top where even Italians who by other white people in America are looked down on. The Italians are, you know, looking down on what do they say? Mullions. They're looking down on their mullions, right? Where they're like, you know, he's like, you know, let's do this. Lloyd Cannon is like, let's do this like men. Right? Says it to Donatello, and he turns and he says to his people in Italian, you know, he thinks he's a man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I was like, damn, right off the bat, not knowing that Lloyd speaks Italian. You know what I'm saying? You know, but they shook, both with blood on their hands, and then, you know, it skips to the scene of them exchanging their sons. You know, that's kind of, I mean, there's more. It starts to go. It goes into, they introduce this crazy nurse.
Yeah.
Right, because Donatello gets shot by some kids in the park playing with. I don't like. What are they playing with?
Yeah,
what kind of guns are they?
Must have been like a BB gun or a real small pellet gun, right?
Yeah.
But I was wondering why pellets weren't shooting out the whole time at each other.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that's why I think there's more. I think there's more to that we may figure out, you know, later down the line.
Yeah. And by the way, that chirping in the background, that's Tony's birds. Tony got some birds, man. They're chirping in the back.
Let me cover them up. I'll be right back.
All right. So they're riding through the neighborhood. You know, they're watching. You know, they see a couple of brothers walking the street. They're watching them suspiciously, and then, you know, Donatello starts to get sick while he's in the car.
Yeah.
Right. Or it looks like he's feeling sick, and he's like holding himself, and then, you know, because the show has some comedic moments to it, and he lets out, you know, probably the biggest fart you ever heard in your life.
Right.
Yeah, that was funny to me, man, because it looked like, you know, something was about to happen, right?
Yeah, I thought he was like having a stroke or like
a
heart attack or something.
Right. And then right afterwards, you know, he lets it all out. Everyone got their head out the window. Then he gets shot in the neck. You know what I'm saying? And then they rush him to the hospital. The hospital that they rush him to, they don't want to serve him because they're Italian.
Yeah.
Right. So you see that racial, you know, you've seen it from where the Italian family didn't respect the black family. And then now I don't even know what nationality or ethnicity, you know, the guy who's the doctor is, you know, but he's like, you know, your kind needs to go over to this hospital. They won't serve him. He's in a wheelchair, blood gushing out of his neck. They won't help him. They send him over to the other hospital. In that hospital, the eldest son who's going to take over the family if he dies, tells the nurse, go ahead and off him after, after they snort some cocaine in one of the back rooms or whatever it was that they did, crushed pills or something.
Yeah, within 10 minutes of meeting each other, they're already getting into it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And doing dirt together. I thought that was kind of wild, but it's interesting how obsessed that nurse is with that dude, as it turns out.
And she tried to flip it on him.
Right?
Calling him obsessed or stalker, whatever.
For real.
And then let me see. Am I missing? And let me see. Am I missing anything? Actually, the way that the nurse is introduced is at the
funeral.
At the funeral, right? And I guess we missed an important part because what's her name? Ethelreda. She is narrating. So that lets us know at the end something's gonna come back to her because she's the narrator.
Exactly.
She's the narrator of the story. So something's gonna come back to her at the end. And you see in episode 4, she starts to get a little bit more involved in the things that are going on.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. She's saying that whole thing while she's at the racist school, getting like paddled or whatever.
Right.
She's saying that whole thing about how, every single group that comes off the boat, they are
discriminated against.
They're discriminated against. They're marginalized, and they find that they have to get a little bit down and dirty in order to really come up, because they're not wanted by whoever's already there, right? And she's never in this. You realize that that she is the daughter of this interracial couple, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of their names, but it's this white guy and the black woman, and they run a mortuary, right? And they actually live across the street from the nurse that she meets at that funeral.
Right. So the father's name is Thurman Smutney. The mother's name is Debrell Smutney. And the daughter is Ethelreda Pearl Smutney.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So and the nurse, how we start to figure out that she's a little bit crazy, right? Is when the eldest son gets her to kill the father, I guess, assuming so he can take over.
Right.
And then she goes on and she kills someone else in the hospital. She gets caught killing that person in the hospital. She gets fired. She runs a little bit of a game on the guy who runs the hospital, to say, that they're not caring for their patients, so on and so forth. So she doesn't, literally, she gets fired, but they do a resignation. Away. Yeah, she talks her way into a resignation and some pay.
Right, like 3 months severance.
Yeah, 3 months severance pay. You know what I mean? And then she just goes home and happy, like nothing happened. You know what I mean? So right at that point, I knew there was something wrong with this lady, because she gets fired. She just goes home and bakes a pie or something.
Cool as a cucumber.
Yeah. So you knew she was a psychopath.
Did they actually? Is it confirmed that he got her to kill his father, or was that just one of her random serial dealing?
I believe in that episode he asked her to.
He says to be with him through this difficult time, because I hate to see him like this, or something like that, right?
Yeah, there was. Yeah, he.
And she says she kind of says it like vaguely, but suggestively. So I do think that he did ask for that to happen, because he didn't seem surprised when his
I
father
took
wound up
it. I
dead.
took it a little different. I took it as her taking the initiative more than him asking.
Okay.
Even though, because he wasn't very. If he asked her, it wasn't direct. You know what I mean? I
Exactly.
think he was really talking about, him being in a difficult time with his father.
See,
And
I,
I
I
think
okay. See, I
I'm
took
gonna
it.
watch it again though.
I'm gonna have to
I'll watch
look at it
again.
again because I took it that he was kind of insinuating, yeah, take him out.
Because I feel like he probably expected something to go bad because of how much blood loss there was, but I don't think he necessarily like specifically wanted that to happen. Although he wasn't surprised by it and he wasn't very upset by it because they were already arguing in the car on the way.
Because think about their interaction the next time they seen each other.
Exactly.
It was like, you know what I mean? It was a vague familiarity. You know what I mean?
Right.
I would think if he asked her to do it, they would have had a different kind of interaction when they seen each other the next time.
Right now,
exactly.
see,
It's
I
almost like he
saw
forgot
that.
who she was.
See, I saw that, but I thought that he was like trying to make it where no one would look at them funny.
Okay.
Right, that's what I thought. Because remember, they were in a car. He was upset because his brother was coming over from Italy.
Yep.
Right, and he's like, I'm supposed to be the next one, and then now he's coming over here. He was because his father Donatello was saying something to him about what his brother's role was going to be. So I thought maybe it had to do something with that, and he was like, this is my opportunity. That's what I thought.
Okay.
I go back and look at it. I could be wrong, because that would be central to the story. Did he do it on purpose or not? That would definitely be central to the story, right? So in
I like that brother.
He's
I like that
crazy.
character, the brother.
Yeah, he's crazy. He's crazy.
Yeah.
Eyes all over the place.
Yeah.
Right.
I like him too. Is he also the brother? Is he also the one who said? I think it was him. He's talking about America and basically said everybody's acting.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I like it here. I just act like I'm civilized,
Yeah.
Exactly.
But history of America tells a different story,
The land of taking and killing, you feel me? But everybody is acting like they're better than somebody else, or like that they're so.
So he is savage, but he also has that sense to say, like, you know what? Y'all all savages. Like,
Right.
He has an understanding about human beings in general, you feel me? Like from a philosophical standpoint. And he like understands who he is in that context.
Right.
You feel me?
And so now that brings us to episode 2, not season 2. Right. Let me see what happened. So what happens in episode 2? You see that in episode 2, you see how, and it strikes me throughout all of these episodes how Loy's son is being treated with the Italians.
Yeah.
Right. And how Donatello's son is being treated with the cannons. You know what I mean? Because it's totally different the way that they're being treated. Loy's son is being kept up in the attic. He's staying up there with Rabbi Milligan.
Mm-hmm.
Eating peanut butter sandwiches.
Right.
Right. And Donatello's son.
And he's all skinny,
Right. He's all right. Right. Donatello's son, he's eating with the family, playing with the family. You know what I mean? You see Loy, because the families meet and, they agree to have, Chris Rock's son, Loy's son could, they could see each other, they could see their fathers, basically, right? Or see their family. So they make that agreement. They meet in some park or whatever. They make that agreement, and then this is when Loy finds out that his son is really under the care of Rabbi Milligan.
Right.
right? And he's eating peanut butter sandwiches. He's up in the attic. You know, he's not really part of the family or anything like that.
And I think that's gonna work out in his favor, and in that kid's favor, actually.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah,
Well,
I think.
I mean, you figure the Mulligan kid has been through it already, you know. So I think they're gonna have at least some type of bonding,
Right.
because the Mulligan kid knows he's not really part of the family.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. And he's been through it.
Also, they told the young Italian kid to go in there and watch and get all the information you could find out.
Right. Right. And we haven't seen that surface yet.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I mean, what I'm saying, no, I mean, you're right. You know, they told him that, but when I said we haven't seen that surface, we haven't seen him like snooping for information. We haven't seen that part of it yet.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It would, but one thing that was striking to me is when Lloyd, you know, after he met with his son, and then he was walking away, and then they, you know, re-exchanged kids. He put his arm around a little Italian kid and walked back to the car, you know, and his son is looking like, damn, like this kid might have just replaced me. So somewhere in there that made me think that maybe this kid is having some feelings towards his father. One, that he's in this situation, he didn't want to be there. And now he sees that maybe this kid is getting treated as good as, or maybe even better than he. Right. You know what I'm saying? Which could lead you to say that this kid, what is his name?
Satchel,
that's right, Satchel. So, I mean, would he grow up to be Mike Milligan? Who knows? You know, I guess we'd have to see if he ends up somehow, some way wanting to turn on his father.
And on the flip side, Chris Rock's character, when he sent the Italian boy over to his you know, his real family, he told him, if they don't get down and look you in your eyes,
yeah,
they don't love you.
Right.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? If they don't come down to your level and do eye to eye, they don't love you.
They don't love you.
Right. Exactly.
So, you know, so there's something already happening there where, you know, that Italian kid could end up feeling like, you know, I'm more accepted with this family than my own family. You know, I think I might want to rock with them. You know what I'm saying? And then the Cannon boy, maybe he's might start feeling rejected by his own family if it doesn't happen soon enough that he comes back home.
And it's a small detail, but it was funny to me, like when they first exchanged the kids, Rabbi Milligan, whose name is Rabbi because his first trade was to a Hebrew family.
Right, to a Hebrew family, right.
Right. So he's really been away from his family his entire life.
Yeah.
This guy, he tells the kid, be who you need to be, but don't forget who you are, is my advice, right? And then the first time you see him like in the house being raised by the Cannons, the mom says, oh, he ate a loaf of bread for lunch.
Right.
So it's funny because it's like he's keeping his Italian,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Keeping his traditions.
In the carbs, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You feel me? And I'm like, it's very interesting because in that same conversation, she asked how is Satchel looking, and he's like, you know, he looks good. He's skinny. You know what I'm saying? And then she's like, I don't want to hear that. And then he pretty much reveals that first opportunity he gets, he's gonna make this move and get his kid back.
Yeah.
But the son doesn't really realize that he has that urgency.
Right. Exactly. So they decide, the Cannon family, or, you know, Lloyd Cannon's family decide that they're gonna take over. What was it? The can't think of the word now, but
oh, it's like a slaughterhouse.
The slaughterhouse. Yeah. They're gonna take over the slaughterhouse. One part that I did miss, or that we did miss, that I want to go back to. Lloyd has this idea of basically starting a credit card, right?
Yeah.
Remember, in season 1, he brings it to the bank. I mean, in episode 1, he brings it to the bank. He brings this idea to the bank, and the banker's
Dr.
like,
Senator.
well, you know, and you know, he's like, look, I'm already doing it with my people. I'm already doing it in my community. You know what I'm saying? You know, or you know, he's not really doing it. He's basically a loan shark, right? He's a lender, right? He's a loan shark in his community. And he said, you know, I already got some people on board, some people lined up, some stores lined up, this, that, and the other thing, a few stores in the black community. He's like, but I need your community. I need to get the stores in your community to accept this so that people from your community will buy it, right? And the banker, he knows it's a good idea, but I felt like he was like, you're not bringing this shit into my community.
Right.
You're not going to take advantage of my community.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I kind of felt like, you know, I felt like he was protecting his community, right? He was like, nah, you're not going to do that. Do it in yours.
And he even said, oh, people in this community don't spend money they don't have.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So you know, that's a storyline to watch.
And you have Dr. Senator, right? Basically being there, trying to, like, as his right hand, and basically trying to keep him from moving too fast and advancing on the boundaries of the deal that they have with the Italians. Because in the first episode, I think, might have been early part of the second episode, he's sitting there. Oh yeah, no, it's his first episode. He's sitting there with Donatello, right? And he's saying, yo, more and more of this side is becoming a black community, which means that we should negotiate some kind of a deal to transfer ownership of the establishments in this territory to be owned by us, right? Because it's going to be a black community. Donatello tells him, I have black clothes. Do you think those are yours too? And then essentially, then he essentially says no to that, says that, you know, they can arrange a meeting between the moms in order for them to both be able to spend a day with their own children. And then Lloyd lets him know, like, yo, listen, this is a partnership. I don't work for you. You feel me? I know you think being American means standing on my neck, but we're basically in the gutter together. The signs say no Negroes, no Italians, right?
Right, exactly.
You know, and it's funny, in that same era, you had the no Irish signs, right? And so also, one thing that ties in at the end of the first episode, you see that Ethel Rita's parents are sitting down at a meeting with Lloyd Cannon talking about a loan, right? And then she's just told, oh, go up to your room.
Right.
She's not allowed to really know anything. In the beginning of that next episode, you have Debrell's sister, Zelmer, and her partner in crime, Swanee, right, who are a bank robbing duo, right, breaking out of jail, right? So there's already that bond between the Cannons and this family, right, where they're in debt to the Cannons, and then you see that they're pushing these credit cards, they're taking over the slaughterhouse, right? And they're basically being very, very tactical yet aggressive about how they're going to expand and empower themselves.
Right.
And I feel like a part of that is the fact that this guy is just worried that his son is eating peanut butter sandwiches in the attic being raised by an Irish guy who betrayed his own family.
Right. Exactly. So there is a little bit of urgency there for him, right?
Yeah.
So there's a few things happening right now as you get into episode 2. Few things happening. Lloyd Cannon's son, like Savage just said, is living in the attic eating peanut butter sandwiches. He feels some urgency to get his son. He's trying to push this credit card deal out there. And then now this Miss Smutney's sister and her friend, Debrell Smutney's sister and her friend, break out of prison, and they come to the Smutney's house, right?
Yeah.
And the Smutneys are in debt to the Cannons because the Cannons have lent them some money because they're having financial hardships right now. Right, so those are a few things that a few storylines that are happening, right? So the Cannons decide, since we got this urgency, we got to go ahead. We're gonna take over the slaughterhouse. They take over the slaughterhouse. They just run up in the joint. Deuce is like, there's no money here. It's like, we don't want money. We coming. We're taking over. This is
right.
We're overthrowing. We're taking over. What he said, this is a transition to leadership or something like that. He said.
Mm-hmm.
Right, they take over the slaughterhouse, but then the Italians come in and they're like, hold up, you're not just taking over. Although Dr. Senator is like, this was the agreement we had with Donatello. We had this agreement with Donatello before he died.
Right.
You know what I mean? And what's the brother's name from Italy? The one that came from Italy. What's his name?
Good question. Good question. Let me see.
I'm not sure, but that's the guy. He don't really speak English.
Right. He's one of the brothers. I mean, yeah, he's one of Donatello's sons.
His name is Gaetano.
Gaetano, okay.
Gaetano Fada.
Gaetano Fada. Yeah. So, he goes to the slaughterhouse and he basically is like, nah, this is not happening. If we find out that what you say is legit, then it's yours. But for now, we're taking it over. The Cannons, they walk out. They're like, okay, we're not gonna wild out right now. We're gonna walk out and we're gonna do it this way. Right.
And I gotta give it to him. Gaetano was gangster with it because he sat down in the chair at the desk and leaned his head right next to the man's shotgun barrel.
Right.
And said, nah, you're not gonna take this today. Like we're gonna see something. And then he stood up and he elbows the guy in the face. He's
elbowed him in the face.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if it's wrong, then it's gonna go that way.
We gotta we gotta acknowledge also that he's at odds with his brother.
Right.
Every chance he gets, he's undermining him. So that's important too.
Right, because his brother's like, no killing. He wants to kill. He's like, I want to go out and just take over. You know what I'm saying? All this, you got to give respect to get respect. I ain't with all that. I'm just going to go out and take my respect. That's basically what he's, where his mindset is.
Exactly. That's how he did it in the old country.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When he was killing the communists for Il Duce. And then he was like, then the Americans came and then the war turned and then we had to make a decision. They killed the Duce. And then he still carries his teeth with him. They have that meeting the day after the funeral. I guess they're like executing the will of Donatello. And just the entire family is there.
Yeah.
Right. There's that one Italian dude smoking on the wall saying, "Oh, these spooks, like the way they live is so savage, always with their hand out." And then Gaetano says, "If they're so hungry, let them eat bullets." Justo Fada, who is the smaller, more cool-headed brother, actually wanted to wanted to fight and like get into it at the meeting that Donatello was having with Lloyd before the car ride where he dies,
Right.
or gets shot rather. And now that he's in charge, he understands that he needs to play it cool and honor some commitments that was already in place, right? Like he can't be too hot-headed about it. His brother says, "Yo, if you want to be pussy, be pussy." You know what I mean? Like that's cool.
Called her like 6 times.
Right?
Right.
And you find out that Josto is scheduled to marry the daughter of the alderman.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was yeah, that was fun. He was like
disrespectful. That was straight
like,
disrespectful.
He said, I'm a slow pump 6 kids into your daughter. I was like, yo, this is dude wilding out.
Once a day and twice on Sundays.
Right.
And I was like,
damn.
and I'm like, yo, goddamn. He's like, my father didn't fight out of the plebeian dynasties for his sons to become middle management. If you want to be the mayor, I want my kids to be president. Right. So you see that he has this very strong, ambitious, strategic mindset, whereas Gaetano's like, yo, listen, like we don't have to honor any of this American tradition BS. I'm not even from here. Like I take mine. You feel me? And so that goes on to be the division that causes confusion between their relationship with the Cannons, because Gaetano is making aggressive moves against the Cannons and trying to get things done without the approval of his brother, who's actually in charge. And then the Cannons are looking at it as if it's them making official moves against them,
Right.
And trying to decide if they should go to war.
Right.
Which is why Dr. Senator goes to investigate and basically figure out what's good and who's calling the shots.
Right. And in the meantime, the Fodder family, they go and they ride down on that on the doctor that wouldn't give them any service. Right. So they do a drive-by, and try to kill the doctor. The doctor calls the police, and then now enters the dude that has this. I think he's on the autistic spectrum or something like that, right? Every time he leaves the room, he's got to knock so many times before he leaves the room, or whatever it is.
Either that or like OCD or something.
Yeah, OCD or something, right? So
now with the Italian mob.
Yeah, who was affiliated with the Italian mob, exactly. Right, so he's like he's the inside guy.
Exactly.
Right. So all those storylines happening and going on in episode 2.
They killed the innocent lady when they tried to shoot the administrator from the hospital.
Right.
I don't know how many people they killed, but I know she died, and she was like one innocent bystander, but she was like someone higher up in the social system. So hence why
it's bringing heat.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's bringing heat on them. And at the same time, when Zelmer and her partner Swanee, right, like the bank robbing duo that's related to DeBrell, one of the sisters is like related to DeBrell Smutney. They find out about the debt with the Cannons, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're basically agitating the situation because they're coming through and they're trying to figure out exactly how they can go about robbing the Cannons, getting them out of their debt, getting enough money to go about their way. And what happens as a result of them being in town is that you get people from Chicago, these cops from Chicago, actually, exactly, the U.S. Marshal from Chicago,
right,
comes with a task force at the end, and then you see that they come in to basically kick in the door of the Smutney house and start questioning where is Zelmer and her partner and what's really good.
Now, was that at the end of episode 2? No,
Yeah.
the end of episode 2, I think the end of episode 2, you saw the nurse looking out the window over at No, maybe that was the end of episode 1. What was the end of episode 2?
No, I think you're right because
I think that was the end of episode 2, actually.
yeah,
the
but
nurse-
because she had was that when she left the pie? Because that's the same time when she left the pie.
I think that was in episode 3. I think episode 3. I think that was the end of so episode 2 ended with her.
Yeah.
I think it was episode 2 ended with her just looking out the window over at the
No,
Smutney's
I'm
house.
sorry. I'm sorry. That was the end of episode 1. The end of episode 1. She comes home after she's
Fired.
she's like doing all that stuff. She goes home. The daughter Ethel Rita is sitting out on the front porch, and she's watching, and then we find out that Orietta lives across the street, and she's looking out the window at the daughter, and then she's like looking at them and like saying something to herself.
Right. Okay. So the end of episode 2 is when they kicked in the door to Smutney's.
Exactly.
Oh, all right.
The task force came in to kick in the door to Smutney.
That's right.
After she left the pie there.
Right.
Exactly.
She left the pie. Yep. She left the pie on the ground.
The poison pie.
The poison pie on the ground, and then they came in and they ransacked. They end episode 2 with them going and breaking down the door on Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
It was on Thanksgiving. And again, you see at the end when Lloyd is, he's saying grace, and they go through all the different families. You got the Cannon family, and they're letting the little Italian kid eat at the table with them. He's got Indian feathers on his head, right? Cut out Indian feathers on his head. The Fodder family, they're eating, but Rabbi Milligan and the Cannon kid, they're up in the attic.
Right.
They can't join the family eating peanut butter sandwiches. Right? And then you have the Smutney family, who they're home, they're in the house, they're getting ready to eat, and that's when the nurse drops off the pie, rings the doorbell. Papa Smutney opens the door, doesn't see anybody. Then, you see the police say, it's time to go. Let's go get it. Right.
She said she wanted to do an experiment or something after she's talking to the girl, and she finds out she speaks French. She's like, "Oh, you got pluck," which I guess basically means like ambition, like you're a go-getter, right? She offers her a job, basically coming through and like cleaning the house, right? On some like, if you ever need some money and stuff. The girl's offended. She's like, "Oh, is that all we are to you, is the help?" Which is funny because she actually winds up taking her up on that offer later.
Yeah.
But after she turns it down, the lady's like, "Oh, I want to conduct an experiment," and then she comes back with the poison pie. Billy Bob.
She actually said, "I want to make you my project," didn't she?
I want to make you my project or something like that. Yeah. But then she came back with the pie for them, and I'm like, who were you expecting to eat the pie? I believe it that she wanted the girl to eat it, right? Because I mean, even though she has this weird, quirky politeness, she has this like super racist belief system.
Right.
The dominance of black genes and like,
yeah.
Like you're smart for your complexion. Like,
exactly. Oh, I didn't know they taught French down at the black school, stuff like that. Yeah.
Right. So, and it's just like they don't. I'm self-teaching.
Yeah. So I like the way that they opened up episode 3, right? The way that they did episode 3 when they had, small little clips of scenes from episode 2 to kind of tell the story of everything that happened. And then they went into at first they started off and going into the backstory of the guy, the Mormon cop coming in, or the marshal. Right. They went into the backstory of him coming in, right? He was in the sheriff's office early in the morning, and he
That
talked.
was hilarious.
Yeah, that was hilarious, right? The guy was he was like, "What, did Jesus on a stick?" When I was like, "What?" Right?
That dude is one of my favorite actors. Like, I got mad excited when I see him. Like, yo, he
know what he's doing.
I'm all in. I'm like, he's always wearing a cowboy hat, and like almost every role he played.
Right.
Bro, and also every role he plays is like this very no nonsense, straight to the point kind of guy who like just sees through the BS.
Right.
Real quick, just off topic, but just a question: have any of you seen Deadwood?
Deadwood? No, I didn't
see it.
If you get a chance, it's like 5 seasons, but that's a great show on HBO.
I've seen the but I haven't watched it. Yeah, eating carrots, right? Pulling carrots out his pocket. Yeah. So, but he's looking for
the escaped prisoners.
The escaped prisoners, right? He's looking for the escaped prisoners, and so he says, I need a couple of your guys to tell me where the Braille Miss Smutney lives. So we're gonna try to go see if they're there, right? And so then that leads them to busting down the door on Thanksgiving, looking for the 2 escaped prisoners, right? And then of course it was crazy. All right, so they're searching the house. Then they go down in the basement where they have all the dead bodies in the freezers. You know what I'm saying? And they're one thing that caught me about the dude that that's OCD.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you can't let him lead the way. It just struck me when I was watching it. You can't let him lead the way because he turned the light on 6 times and said whatever he had to say before he went in. They would have escaped by then. You know what I'm saying? They'd have been out. So you can't let him lead the way.
Exactly.
You can't let him lead the way. But they check all of they check 5 of the 6 freezers with bodies in it. And when they get to this freezer before the last freezer, and one of the bodies is all, beat up and dead and ugly looking and mutilated, and they get sick and they got to get out of there, right? The 2 prisoners are hiding in the last freezer with guns.
Yeah.
Right, so they was ready to blow the cops away. You know what I mean? But because they got sick, they didn't check the last freezer, right? The cops end up leaving. And they get away, right? The prisoners don't get away.
They go upstairs. Because remember, the 2 prisoners, they come up and they like right behind the cops. The cops talking to the family. And they putting the shotgun barrel in and out like she was shooter.
Right. Ethelrita's no, don't do it. No, don't do it. Well, she's not saying it. She's doing it with her eyes, right? Like, no, my mom's talking to him. So then the prisoners, they hatch up a plan that they're going to rob the cannons, right? Because they were in episode 2, they were already watching. They were kind of staking them out a little bit, right? So they hatch up the plan that they're gonna rob the cannons, and they get Mr. Smutney. They get him on board with the entire plan, right? In the meantime, you have what's the brothers from Italy's name again?
Gaetano.
You got Gaetano, who he wants to do something. He wants blood. He wants violence.
Exactly. He's trying to set this war off.
He's trying to set it off. You know what I'm saying?
Did the ambush happen yet?
The ambush where they roll up on
with the ring of fire?
No, that's episode 4.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So Guy, I just call him Guy. You know what I'm saying? He wants blood. He wants to kill somebody. Right? So he's talking to the to some of the guys, and he's like, yo, we need to just go, we need to go take somebody out at the top. You know what I mean? We need to take him out. And the other guys are like, yo, Justo said no killing. Right. But he gets the one dude to be down with him. Right. Calamita.
Oh.
Yeah. He gets Calamita to be down with him. Right. And so then they go and
I don't think real quick. I don't think Calamita really F's with Justo at all. I mean, of course, because he's with Gaetano, but I feel like because Calamita was his father's man, right? He's not really going to automatically respect Justo's claim to power and his methodology. Actually, in that car ride from the first episode, he's the one that brings up the topic to Donatello. Oh, tell him that his brother is coming to visit from Italy.
Exactly.
Right? And he laughs. And I feel like the familiarity he had with his brother and what his brother's ways were and what he'd been up to in Italy, right? And his joy at the fact that Gaetano is coming from Italy and you're not gonna like this. So Don, tell him, right? He was probably looking forward to Gaetano getting there and probably being the one to be named in charge of the next chapter of what their affairs would be after Donatello steps down, right?
Right.
But because the Donatello's dead now, there's never really an opportunity for that to happen. There's just the automatic continuity that was already in place when Justo takes over because he's the American son that's been there, right? And he was the son that was traded to the Irish in exchange for what's his name? I guess because Gaetano was left in Italy. So I want to see exactly how that wound up happening, right? And now we see Gaetano's over here, and he just cares nothing about what his brother got to say, right? He's like, I'm gonna go make this move. He gets Rabbi Milligan. It gets Calamita to go get Rabbi Milligan because he wants to see what Rabbi Milligan is made of, right?
Right. He wants to see if he actually trusts if he's actually gonna stand with the family or not.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Because of course he's the one raising the Molignana, you know, as he says, right?
Right.
Okay. And every time they say that, I'm like, bro, like I have to go do a little research on that one.
Yeah. But, every time he says it, I think back to Eddie Murphy Delirious. Right? If you ever see Eddie Murphy Delirious, you know what I'm saying, where he fights the Italian dude in the movie theater after he watched Rocky, you know what I mean? You know, he's like, yo, what's up, this moolie over here? Blah, blah, blah. So every time he says it, I think back to that.
Every culture has a name for us, man.
Right.
This is what we call those people.
Yeah, man.
But he goes and then he sets in motion the move on Lloyd's son Lemuel, right? Lemuel Cannon, who is basically completely uninvolved in any sort of criminal activity, just wants to be a jazz musician, right? And you actually see him walking through the house in episode 2 with the trumpet for a brief shot, and then he talks about it. Lloyd talks about it. And basically the reason that he survives is one, he wasn't alone. He was being driven by the guy who wanted to step up in the Cannon organization. He's like, hey, yo, I want to step up. You know what I'm saying? I want to step up. I feel like I could do more was good. And then he's like, yo, go get on Lemuel and keep him safe, but keep him thorough at the same time, essentially. Is what he wanted him to do. So he's there. He's the driver. Lemuel's a passenger, so they got to shoot past this guy if they want to get him. And then Rabbi is getting nervous. Calamita's telling them, "Yo, draw your shit." You know what I'm saying? And get ready to do this. And then he's like, "Did this come down from Josto or what?" Because he's loyal to Josto.
Right.
Right. And I feel like there's an understanding there because they were both traded for each other's families.
Right. And so then when Calamita, Rabbi doesn't pull his gun. Well, he pulls the gun, but he's not pulling the trigger. And Calamita, it's like, F it, I'll do it. And he goes to bang his gun, and Rabbi Milligan, moves his hand so he won't hit anybody. And then now, once you pull your gun and you miss your target, that's a problem. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And then at the same time, remember, you got the two escaped prisoners who are plotting to rob Cannon.
Mm-hmm.
They got the sawed-off shotgun. They're ready to go. Now the one girl ate the pie, right?
Exactly. It ate the whole damn shit.
She was killing the pie. Ate the pie, right? And
she wanted to take it with her.
Yeah, she wanted to take it with her, right? She wanted to take it with her, right? So they go back to the house to where they're preparing to go rob the Cannons, right? And the one girl, she ate the pie. She's eating the pie. The Braille Smutney's sister, she comes downstairs with a bag of clothes and a sawed-off shotgun, and then to the Braille's surprise, Thurman, her husband Thurman Smutney, he's gonna drive to drop them off wherever, right? So they're gonna lay down in the back of a hearse to sneak him out the house so that they don't get caught. And then he's going to drop him off. It seems at that point you kind of know that he's down. He's with the plot. He's with the plan. And this is his part of the plan. Right? So he goes. I guess he drops him off wherever. They wait for their time, and then they go in and they do the robbery. I'm saying they do the robbery. In the middle of the robbery, the lady who ate the pie, she's getting sick. You know what I mean? She's passing gas all over the place. She's throwing up all over the place. She's got to go to the bathroom because she's got poison because the nurse put poison in that pie.
And she threw up in the money.
And she threw up on the money. And that comes back, yeah. Right? That comes back. She threw up on the money. They get the money. They took like $20K. They get the money. They go to wherever they're going. Now, the Cannon family, they feel like the fathers shot at... Yeah, hit him twice. Exactly, hit him twice. Shot at Lemieux and robbed him.
Right.
And robbed him. Right. So then Dr. Senator, he has to talk Lloyd down a little bit. Because he can sense, like you were saying earlier, he can sense that maybe there's a split in the family. He don't know who's leading, who's calling the shots. So he's like, yo, I'm gonna talk you down because your son is over there, right? And if you do something, he's gonna get killed, right? Because Lloyd's like, should I go slice up the white boy right now? You know what I'm saying? Should I go bloody his face right now? You know what I'm saying? So he has to talk him down a little bit. He meets with what's the other dude's name? He meets with him in the little coffee shop where they over.
Yeah,
where they always meet.
Another older Italian dude.
Yeah,
he's probably from Italy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, so
he's the guy that he sends up north, but actually that happens in episode 4. So I'll hold off on that.
Right. So they meet in the coffee shop. Dr. Senator and that guy. It's funny. Dr. Senator, he's a lawyer, right? Dr. Senator Esquire, I think.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah,
That's just funny. You know what I mean? But Dr. Senator, from his reaction, understands that he doesn't know what's happening. He doesn't know what's going on in the Italian family, right? So he brings that back to Lloyd and lets him know, like, they don't know what's going on, but obviously something's got to be done. You know what I'm saying? They got to do something, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if I think this is in episode 3. I don't know if it's episode 3 or 4, but Rabbi tells Justo busts in the office where they're plotting to do something. No, that's episode 4. So we'll get to episode 4 in a second.
Right. Yeah. What happens in episode 3 is Justo is like stalking or like following that nurse, right? And then he's like watching her through the window of the new hospital where she gets a job at, which is
right
hospital that didn't treat Donatello's wounds when they first arrived. He said, go down to St. Bartholomew.
He's actually watching the administrator. He don't even notice her.
Right, exactly.
He bangs up on the window and surprises them or whatever.
True that. He's watching the administrator because he still wants to get revenge. He still has this vendetta against
and
this
his brother keep fucking him over it. Like, oh,
right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And then also the inside cop that he has there can't be of as much service anymore because the U.S. Marshals in town, and within about 10 minutes of being on detail together, he already figures that this guy is in dirty
yeah.
with this Italian family. So that leads to some funny stuff too, where he's just like making easy observations about this OCD cops like tendencies and alliances. So the nurse rolls up on Justo in his car thinking that he's there like stalking her, right? She for some reason isn't like in love with this guy, right? She like jerks him off in the car,
right?
Okay. and then I think they talk briefly about a role that she can play in sabotaging that new hospital,
right?
That she's working for. He's like, it says something like, "Oh, you could be of use to me," right? And then also in that episode, what happens? We get Ethelreda and them is like talking to the sister and the family, and then the robbery happens. All right, yeah. So that's about it.
So that's where we are now. So, basically now, you're looking at the two families are possibly at war. Ethelreda is still trying to figure out what's happening and what's going on, and then you got Ethelreda's aunt who just robbed the Cannon family, right? Which really puts her family at risk because her father is in debt to the Cannon family.
Right.
And Ethelreda, of course, is still trying to figure out like what's going on, what's happening. Right. So now when you get into episode 4, of course, the Cannons are going to get their revenge on the Fodder family. Right. So in episode 4, you got Calamito.
Yeah.
He
is, I don't know, driving through.
It's a produce truck that has guns hidden underneath.
Right. And he gets caught. I didn't really see how he got caught in the ring of fire. I don't know what happened.
I mean, all I know is they set it off in front of him, and then when he was about to back up, they set it off behind him.
Okay.
But the funny thing is, like, when they actually drove off with the truck, they just drove right through.
Right, I know. They just drove right through it. You know what I'm saying?
So I didn't really just drive through it, but
right. So was it before or after that? Before that happened, I think it was before that happened. I don't know.
Ethelreda wakes up right at night, and then she has like they're going through a shot through their house. It's getting close to like Christmas time, I guess, at this point.
Yep.
And she's up at night and she's writing something, then she goes and she opens her door and looks outside her room and she sees like I guess it's a nightmare or something.
Yeah.
But she sees like one of the dead bodies sitting at the top of the staircase.
Yeah. Right.
And then it goes into Calamita's driving with
yeah, and Lloyd confronts. Does he confront Rabbi Milligan before or after Calamita is? I think it was after. It was after. So right. So Calamita is in the ring of fire. He's still trying to pop noise. So the dude puts the gun in the fire. Right. Gets it hot. Burns a circle in his face. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They
took
take
it like
the
a
truck.
champ.
Yeah, hey, he did. Can't front about that. He took that joint. I would have been screaming. He took that joint like a champ. You know what I'm saying?
For real.
So they take the truck that's got the guns in it. They bring it back to their little, bring it back to home base. And they decide they're gonna sell the guns. I forgot what the guns are from New York. They're gonna sell 200 guns to somebody in exchange for his loyalty. Whatever it is.
And they're gonna keep 100.
And they're gonna keep 100.
Like 300 guns on there. There was a lot of heat.
Yeah. And Milligan lets Justo know what happened. Right. So Justo goes in where his brother is. He comes in shooting, firing off the gun, but he knows he's not trying to hit him. Right. He misses on purpose.
Right.
And you can see right here that if you couldn't see it in episodes 2 and 3, you can definitely see it now that they're split. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be a battle for who is the leader of the Fowler family. You know what I'm saying? Like this is when it's really starting to split off because you got Justo, it's got his people. He's got Rabbi Milligan. He's got the other dude.
Name is.
And his brother got his people that's behind him. You know what I'm saying? So there's starting to be a crack in the Fowler family, which to me starts to say that possibly this means that the Cannon family is primed to take over because they're split.
Exactly.
Right? They're dividing. They're falling.
Exactly.
And then Lloyd, he confronts Rabbi Milligan. You know what I'm saying? Rabbi Milligan tries to tell him like, yo, I protected your son. And Lloyd's like, you're gonna do more than that. I need you to bring me my son. He was like, bring me my son. He said, I'll give you $5,000 and something else. I forgot. Right? If you bring me my son.
They don't care about you anyway.
Right. That's what you're telling them. Like, they don't care about you anyway. You're not part of that family.
Exactly.
Rabbi Milligan is like, nah, he can't do it. Right? So he tells him, if anything happens to my son, either one of my sons,
it's going to be like you did it.
It's going to be like you did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, Rabbi Milligan really has what'd you say?
Somebody in the chat is saying that they sell the guns to Mort Kellerman, who's in season 2.
Okay. All right, there you go. Mort Kellerman. Yeah, there you go.
Word.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go. So, there you go. Right. So yeah, there's gonna be little connections like that. All throughout.
I didn't even catch that one.
Yeah,
I didn't even catch
I didn't
that
peep
one.
it. I haven't seen. I've seen some of season 2. I haven't seen all of it. So maybe I just haven't. He hasn't been introduced to me yet. I don't know, but I didn't peep that. And so I got to go back and watch. I think I only watched like 1 or 2 episodes, and he might have been in there, and I just didn't peep it. I don't know. But so now I'm trying to think. Where I'm at. We're in episode 4. I'm trying to think where I'm at. They got their revenge. Of course, Justo's brother, he wants to go. He's like, yo, they got 300 of our guns. We got to go do this, that, the other thing. He's like, they wouldn't have 300 of our guns if you hadn't, tried to take out his son. You know what I mean? He's like, now my enemies got 300 of my guns. right? So now I'm trying to think where we're at in the story.
Well, I know the girl ends up going ahead and doing that job, taking the job from the nurse.
Right?
Right.
She takes a job from the nurse. You know, the nurse and
Kinda
Justo,
convincing
you know,
her.
they're doing their thing now, right? The nurse and Justo, they're doing their thing. They're probably
She's
about
like
to getting into some
riding
wild
him and
stuff.
choking him and all
Yeah,
that.
they about to start getting into some wild stuff. So you know what I'm saying?
Wilding with it. And she was actually annoyed. She was actually annoyed that the girl showed up there because she was trying to keep Josto there a little bit longer.
Right.
And then Josh was like, yo, what the fuck you got this kid here for? I'm
Yeah.
out. Like I'm leaving. You know what I'm saying? So he breathes out, and then she's upset. The girl actually kind of has to like be pushy about getting the job.
Getting the job. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? She's like, nah, like we need the money. We're in debt to this. You know what I'm saying? So let me come in there and clean, like you said, whatever.
Right. So
She's
now,
going through cleaning, right? Yeah, go on.
yeah, I was gonna say something, and now also at the same time, the sisters who, the Brill's sister, and a friend who robbed the Cannons,
right?
They're hiding out because the one girl is sick, so you know they're hoping that she's gonna recover. They're hiding out for a couple of days. They meet with Thurman, right? And again, Thurman is, you know, Thurman Smutney. They meet with Thurman Smutney. They give him money to pay off Lloyd Cannon. Right? They give him the money to pay off Lloyd Cannon so he can pay back that debt. Right?
Yeah.
In the meantime, Ethelrita, you know, there's a closet in the house that she's told not to go into. She goes into that closet and starts to find out some of the history of her family.
Right.
In that closet.
She finds she starts to notice that this nurse is like killing people and taking trophies. Right. Like she's finding newspaper clippings,
and
right?
Embroidery,
corresponding jewelry that corresponds to the newspaper clippings, and then and the thing it says, oh, so and so died in the hospital, you know, succumb to this, and there's the hospital where the nurse is working, and she has all this jewelry, and then she has like something else, like a bunch of military
stuff.
And I was like, and I'm watching, and I'm like, yo, like this is kind of nuts, like.
Yeah.
like she's killed a lot of people. Shorty, Ethelrita finds the ring, finds Donatello's ring.
Which that is going to be because she took the ring.
Yeah.
She took Donatello's ring. Yeah.
She took the ring off of Donatello after she euthanizes him. Right.
But now Ethelrita took the ring. I think
exactly.
Yeah, Ethelrita took that ring.
Ethelrita took the ring, and if you recall, right, it's funny because Josto was just there, right? Josto doesn't know that she has the ring. He didn't even like process it when his mom said, "Oh, you guys couldn't wait till he was warm, to start stripping him away,
right,
and taking stuff because his ring is gone." And then Josh was like, "Ring? What ring? No one took a ring, man. Like, you know, what are you talking about?" So he doesn't even realize that there's a ring to even be looking for. Right. But if he somehow comes across it, he'll know.
Yeah. And Ethelrita, she left her book in the closet.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So that lady, you know, if she doesn't figure out that she left her book and goes back to get it, that nurse is gonna find out, and then, you know,
I think the nurse is gonna end up like putting it on the doorstep or something. Like, yeah, you left this.
Right, exactly. I know that you know now.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
so now we have this relationship.
We got this. Yeah, right. Exactly.
And it's interesting because she said that I want to make you my project right before she made the pie with the syrup ipecac. And the syrup ipecac bottle, you see it sitting there on the shelf with
Yep.
all the other hard drugs and narcotics that this lady has amassed to like poison people, and I guess like spice up her sex life. You know what I mean? Like, okay,
Yeah.
and so I'm wondering, what did she have something about? I wonder if black people get sick from syrup ipecac pies, or is she like, oh, this girl is smart and like a go-getter, maybe she could make my successor as a good serial killer of people. I'm just wondering.
or maybe she, maybe she
She's a
has
target.
some kind of grand plan somewhere along the line, and she's gonna try to use her,
Right.
in that plan with her knowing or not knowing.
Cause she offers her the job to come clean. She's like, oh, like you can listen to my French records while you're cleaning. You can do this, and that. And I'm like, what's this obsession with not only Josto but also with Ethel Reader? Is this like, is this how you're gonna choose your next victim, or do you only kill people that's in the hospital? Right?
Yeah.
Like, was she trying to kill Ethel Reader or her mom or?
Right,
Or
and she maybe she's intrigued because her parents run a mortuary and there's dead people in there. So maybe somewhere she's intrigued and she feels like Ethelreda can get her in the door. I don't know.
You know what
I'm saying?
A trophy she didn't take. A trophy she forgot to take. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Someone's dead and they still got the jewels on.
And then now, of course. So you got that happening with Ethelreda. The two prisoners, they stole the money. They're hiding out. They give Thurman money to pay off Loy. He brings the money to Loy, right, and says that a uncle or somebody passed away and left him some money. But remember, she threw up on the money though.
Right.
And she tried to wash it too.
Yeah, they try to wash that. They try to wash it, but you don't get throw up. It's hard to get that throw up smell out. Not in just water.
I was something like money, where you're trying not to damage the product that you're trying to clean, right?
Yeah.
I still need this to be passable as money.
Right.
And everybody who gets the money smells it and is like, it smells kind of funny.
Right. So, exactly. So
Lloyd took one look at it and he's like, yo, motherfucker.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And so Lloyd got the money and he's like, after he talks to him and, Thurman is trying to, Thurman's shaking, his legs shaking. Legs shaking, his drink shaking, hands shaking, scared to death. Tells him he
tells him you can go, and he's surprised as hell.
Yeah, exactly. Right, I can go. Right. You know what I'm saying? And he asked him, he was like, so your uncle or whoever it was just left you a pile of cash? Right? He's like, no, I got it in a check, but I figured it would help you out if it was in cash. He was like, I never met a white man that tried to help me out, or whatever he said.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then Thurman. Yeah, it was funny though. Thurman was leaving. He turned. He was like, you got a nice home. He was like, you better go. You know what I'm saying? Like, you better just get out of here, man. And then Lloyd figures out that he smells. He could smell the money. He gets a whiff of the money, and when he smells it, it ends with it. It registers to him like, hey,
it's the same money.
He's connected. This is the same money. This is our money. You know what I'm saying? This is our money.
Yeah.
And then
I feel like husband goes home. He got to tell. He's all excited. I got good news. He breaks out the champagne bottle.
Yeah.
Talk about, we ain't got to worry about that loan no more.
Doing a lot.
And right off the jump, his wife is like, what'd you do?
Exactly. Where'd you get that money? What'd you do? Where'd you get the money? And
seen right through it.
Yep, seen right through it, right off top. And so now, she's mad with him for doing, for participating in the robbery. He doesn't know that Lloyd knows and I'm just waiting. You know, looking at. I don't think Lloyd's gonna kill him.
I don't think so either.
I think Lloyd knows this guy's too scared to rob.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's too scared to rob, but he knows who robbed me.
Exactly. And it's interesting because it's like he had that loan meeting with DeBrell there present, right? DeBrell's sister is the one who executed the robbery, right? You have that going on at the same time. It's going to come about that that they were the ones acting alone in doing that robbery and not on behalf of the mob, because he was actually having that conversation with Doctor like
They wouldn't hire two broads.
Yeah,
right.
They wouldn't hire a black broad and an Indian.
Exactly. They wouldn't go and like delegate this to someone like that. It would be a much more clean and targeted operation. So he's starting to separate these incidents out, right? Whereas he was kind of moving before, like he was blaming the Italians for like both incidences, which Doctor didn't even know was unrelated until he had that second meeting with Ebo, right?
Right.
Which is the name of that advisor guy he then sends, who Josto sends to New York to go and tell them, yo, everything is cool over here, nothing's wrong. But it's funny because he also says, yo, bring back some guys.
Bring back some guys. Yeah, exactly.
And the guy's like, if I bring back guys, they're gonna know something's going on.
Right. I was thinking the same thing Ebo was thinking. I was like, well, if you tell them you need guys, then they're gonna know something's happening. He just gets mad. Something's up.
He said, go kiss the ring in New York and make sure it's good. Yeah. And he's like, how am I supposed to do that and bring the guys back, right? And then he sends them off. He's like, is everybody talking back today? Like he's getting upset.
Right. and he's probably getting upset because his brother keeps basically telling him you soft.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly. So when people are talking back, he's like, yo, like, y'all starting to drink the Kool-Aid. Like, what's up? You know,
he's gonna have to make an example.
You know, he's gonna have to start making an example. Yeah. So, you know, that's basically where we're at, man. That's basically where we're at. Episode 5 comes on, is released Monday.
Yeah.
All right, so episode 5 is released on Monday. Few things we want to see, right? Oh, you know, one other thing. When the Indian lady was sick, a ghost or something came up out the bathwater.
Yeah.
Right? Came up out the bathwater or something.
Same,
almost
like the same one that
Ethelrita saw.
No?
Yeah, I think it was. So you know, that's going to be interesting to watch. To see what that's about. So you got that. I have no idea where that's going. You know where that's going. What that is. Got Ethelrita, who's, found out some stuff, about the nurse, about things that she's done, and she left her book in the closet. So now, what's going to happen with Ethelrita and the nurse. And you got Loy, who is going to be looking to get his revenge for the robbery.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he's going to be looking at the Thurman.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it's probably going to make a visit to the house or something. Something's going to go down. And then now you got the Italian family that, they're probably going to be looking to try to get their guns back.
Exactly.
And they're also split.
Right.
Well, you know what I mean? So
bringing some more muscle in town.
And they're bringing some more muscle to town. So
for this bubbling war that's about to jump off.
Right. And then the ladies that did the robbery, that robbed Lloyd Cannon, they're still in town.
Exactly.
And that Marshall, he decided he was going to stay in town just in case they pop up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, his partner, the OCD cop pays off another cop to come through and try to say something to like.
Oh yeah, they went to another state. They left.
That they went to this other state.
Yeah.
In order to get him off of him so he can go back to work for the Italians.
Right. So
the guy's like, oh, the U.S. Marshals got offices all over the place, so I'll just let them handle it, and I'll just sit tight.
I'll just stay here, right? So we got all of this happening right now, and we'll see what's gonna happen in episode 5. You know what I mean? No, it's a great show. Great show. Last thing I want to ask real quick: how do you guys feel about Chris Rock being in this role?
I think it's some of the best acting I've seen from him in this role. You feel me? Like in previous roles, I feel like there wasn't too much drama for him to really challenge himself with.
Yeah.
But I feel like in this one there's plenty, and I feel like he's handling it pretty well.
Yeah, and exactly. You know, a lot of times when a comedian like a Chris Rock goes into a role, you're expecting some kind of comedy because he doesn't play too many serious roles, right? Exactly. You're expecting some kind of comedy. You know, this is just all serious, and anything that's funny that happens in the show, it doesn't come from him.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Exactly. And I'm pretty sure he wanted it that way because this is going to be a step for him, I think.
Exactly. All he has is these little wisdoms that he illustrates for people every once in a while, like the guy in the street that was asking for like money, and he holds the whole grip.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? The whole grip up, and he's talking about how this man's already fantasizing about what he's gonna do with this.
Right. And my man Cortez Carter, he's got all the names down pat in the chat. I'm telling you, man. He said they called the ghost Mr. Snowman. And yeah, the U.S. Marshals is Deafy. Because you remember he asked him, you know, are you deaf? He was like, I can see where you would get that. He said, yeah. But guys, look, I'm gonna get up out of here. I got some things I gotta do. I appreciate the time, man. Tomorrow night we're gonna do Underground Radio. Tomorrow night, 9:30, do Underground Radio, and then remember Sunday after
3BL.
No, Lovecraft.
After Lovecraft.
Yes.
After it's aired live, then we're gonna do a show. After it's
what time
aired
does
live.
It come on?
I think it comes on at 9, right?
Oh boy, yeah, it comes on at 9 o'clock.
I think it comes on at 9.
Man. I might make a brief appearance. Because I got to work at 6 a.m. on Monday. I'm usually off Mondays.
Yeah. Well, we'll all be in contact and see how it goes and whatnot. You know what I mean? But just look for the notifications, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you guys for taking the time. Fargo comes back on Monday, so make sure you check it out on Monday. And then I don't know. I guess we'll talk about it. Maybe we'll jump on for a few minutes. It won't be as long because we won't have to cover all 4 episodes. We only got to cover 1 episode. You know, maybe jump on and talk about it right quick, and then head out.
Yep.
All right. I appreciate everybody, man.
Salute, folks.
You know, hip-hop, put me on to this show because I'm hooked now.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And you know, hopefully, because I'm doing more research on, you know, some of this mafia stuff in Kansas City and black mafia in Kansas City and stuff like that, we can come in with a little bit more depth on, you know, when we come back to it. You know what I mean? With some historical stuff, since this is true story. But anyway, man, I appreciate you guys, and everybody that's watching, appreciate you guys. Be peaceful.
Salute.